Welcome to Michael Zane Trusty's Track Talk, where every track has a story. Few songs have ever captured the raw ache of loneliness like I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry by Hank Williams. In just a few haunting lines, Hank didn't just write a sad song. He opened a window into the depths of his soul. This wasn't just music. This was a man unraveling right in front of us. Let's go back to the late 1940s. Hank Williams was already becoming a star, but stardom wasn't kind to him. Behind the scenes, his life was falling apart. His marriage to Audrey Shepard was rocky at best. They fought constantly. They'd break up and get back together in a cycle that fed Hank's drinking and deepened his depression. At times, he slept in his car. His body was racked with pain from spina bifida occulta, a condition he had had since birth, which only worsened from years of alcohol and prescription drug abuse. He was a young man in agony, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. In August of 1949, amid one of the worst stretches of his life, Hank walked into Herzog's studio in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was there to record a batch of songs with his band, the Drifting Cowboys. That day, he stepped up to the microphone and recorded something that didn't sound like anything on the radio at the time. No up-tempo honky-tonk, no toe-tapping shuffle, just a slow, mournful waltz that dripped with sadness. I'm so lonesome I could cry. The song begins with an image so poetic, so unusual for country music at the time. Hear that lonesome whippoorwill, he sounds too blue to fly. Right away, Hank pulls you into his loneliness, not just with words, but with eerie soundscapes. He talks about the silence of a starry sky, the falling of leaves, even the moon hiding its face in shame. It's not just sadness, it's a kind of cosmic despair. Everything is still, everything is broken. And here's the heartbreaking truth. This wasn't just a character Hank was playing. This was Hank, the man who once said, "You got to have lived the blues to sing the blues." And Hank had lived them in spades. He originally wrote the song as a poem, something deeply personal. It wasn't meant to be a hit. In fact, when it was first released, MGM Records didn't even promote it as the A-side. It was tucked behind a more upbeat number. My Bucket's Got a Hole in It. But DJs knew better. They flipped the record over and played I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry anyway. And the audience listened. They felt it. Elvis Presley would later call it the saddest song I've ever heard. He performed it in concert many times, often pausing to tell the audience how much he admired Hank for writing it. And remember, this was coming from Elvis, the king of rock and roll, who knew a thing or two about loneliness himself. What made the song so powerful wasn't just the lyrics. It was Hank's voice, fragile, worn, almost ghostly. You can hear every crack in his soul in that recording, and even though the song is just under 3 minutes long, it leaves a weight on you that lingers long after the last note fades. But perhaps the most tragic part of this story is that Hank didn't live to see the full impact of his work. Less than 4 years after recording that song, he was dead. January 1st, 1953. Found slumped in the back seat of a Cadillac, only 29 years old. In that short span, he left behind a legacy of music that shaped country, rock, and Americana. But no song stands taller or feels heavier than I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. It's not just a country song. It's a human song. A song that says, yes, I've been there too, and it hurts. If you've ever felt invisible in a crowd, cried in the dark, or stared out a window wishing things were different, Hank knew that pain, and he gave it a voice. Thank you for listening to Michael Zane Trusty's Track Talk. Remember, every track has a story, and sometimes it's a story soaked in sorrow.